Japan PM Takaichi considering snap election in February. Harsh weather worsens conditions for displaced Palestinians. Hello, good afternoon and salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sahih and you're watching World Today. Japanese Prime Minister Sane Takaichi may call an early general election. The head of her party's coalition partner, Hirofumi Yoshimura, said today, after media reported she was considering a February vote. An early election could allow Takaichi, Japan's first female Prime Minister, to take advantage of the strong approval ratings she has enjoyed since taking office in October. Her tough stance on China has appealed to right-wing voters but has sparked a major diplomatic dispute with Japan's powerful Asian neighbour. Yoshimura, leader of the Japan Innovation Party, said he had met with Takaichi on Friday and felt her view on the timing of an election had shifted to a new stage. Yoshimura said he and Takaichi did not discuss the specific timing of any election. Takaichi became Japan's fifth premier in as many years when she was elected initially as the head of a minority government. A 7-day-old infant has died due to the extreme cold in the Gaza Strip as the Israeli blockade of vital necessities worsens the humanitarian crisis in the Palestinian enclave. Medical sources on Saturday said Mahmoud al-Akra died in Deir al-Balah in central Gaza amid rapidly decreasing temperatures. Palestinians living in makeshift tents have little protection from strong winds and rain as most shelters are made of tin canvas and plastic sheeting. Israel continues to limit the number of tents and sustainable shelters entering Gaza in violation of the ceasefire it agreed with Hamas in October, as well as its obligations under international law as the occupying power in the Strip. It has also blocked other vital necessities such as mobile homes, as well as tools and materials to fix damaged tents. Temperatures at night in Gaza have fallen to as low as 9 degrees Celsius in recent days. Gaza Civil Defense also warned of a catastrophe due to the low-pressure system that caused serious damage to temporary shelters as thousands of tents were completely damaged. It also urged citizens to secure their tents to prevent them from being blown away, given that mobile homes are not allowed to enter. Gaza-based health authorities said Israeli airstrikes across the territory on Thursday killed at least 14 Palestinians, while the Israel Defense Forces said the strikes targeted the enclave and resulted in the death of 2 senior Hamas members. Gaza health authorities reported that the 14 Palestinians killed, including 5 children, and 17 others were wounded in Israeli attacks over the past day. Officials noted that some victims remain trapped under rubble or in areas inaccessible to rescue teams. In the Nusayrat refugee camp in central Gaza, an apartment building was hit, resulting in massive destruction and injuries to several people, including a woman. The Syrian government declares its forces have reasserted control over violence-hit neighborhoods in Aleppo amid reports that dozens of fighters with the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces SDF laid down their arms after days of intense fighting. Syria's Ministry of Interior spokesman Noor al-Din al-Baba said that the government forces had taken near-complete control of Aleppo's Sheikh Massoud and Ashrafeh areas. Fighting flared up on Tuesday in predominantly Kurdish neighborhoods of Sheikh Massoud, Ashrafiyeh and Bani Zaid after Syrian forces and the SDF failed to implement a March 2005 agreement to reintegrate the Kurdish forces into state institutions. Tensions spiked after the deadline for the deal passed at the end of the last year, with the Kurdish fighters refusing to leave areas of Aleppo that have been under SDF control since the early days of the Syrian war, which erupted in the year 2011. On Saturday, dozens of fighters surrendered and were taken on buses to SDF-controlled areas in the country's northeast. Calm was restored after brief escalation earlier in the day. We saw a drone attack believed to have been launched by the SDF hit a governorate building during a news conference attended by several high-ranking Syrian officials. US President Donald Trump said he does not believe it would be necessary to order a mission to capture Russian President Vladimir Putin, expressing confidence that Ukraine conflict can be resolved through negotiations.
Well, I don't think it's going to be necessary. I think we're going to have I've always had a great relationship with him. I'm very disappointed. I settled 8 wars. I thought this would be in the middle of the pack or maybe one of the easier ones. And I don't know if you know, Peter, the last month they lost 31,000 people, many of them Russian soldiers, and the Russian economy is doing poorly. I think we're going to end up getting it settled. I wish we could have done it quicker. I was called by the leaders of...
Trump also argued that Putin does not fear European leadership but is intimidated by US power under his administration. Under Trump, Washington has shifted its position from an outright supporter of Kiev to a broker leaning on both sides to agree a peace and will try to get Moscow to sign up the deal it negotiates with Ukraine.
Europe is a different place. Europe is changing.
Meanwhile, the US president addressed unrest in Iran and political development in Venezuela in a post on his social media platform Truth Social. Trump said he loves the Venezuelan people and claimed the United States is already making Venezuela rich and safe again, thanking those he said were helping making it possible. In a separate post, he wrote that Iran is looking at freedom perhaps like never before and added that the US stands ready to help, signaling support for demonstrators. Iranian authorities have indicated they could intensify their crackdown on the biggest anti-government demonstrations in years, with the Revolutionary Guards blaming terrorists for the unrest and vowing to protect the ruling system. Fresh reports of protests emerged from the Tehran and other cities, even as internet blackouts made independent verification difficult. Meanwhile, in Venezuela, human rights groups said the number of prisoners released has risen in recent days as part of an apparent peace gesture following US military pressure and the capture of President Nicolas Maduro. Trump has said he cancelled a second wave of attack on the South American nation following cooperation on the releases. Trump's post underscored his administration's focus on portraying US backing for popular movements abroad while navigating complex diplomatic and security challenges. In connection with the issue, hundreds of protesters turned out in front of the White House on Saturday to speak out against the Iranian government and in support of an opposition revolt that has been underway since 28 December. Deputy Director of the Washington office of the National Council of Resistance of Iran said protesters are seeking support from the United States, with the leader saying now is the time to stand with the people of Iran in their push for freedom. He stressed they are not asking for foreign troops or financial aid, but simply for international support for their cause.
Hundreds of Iranian Americans have come from all over the United States right here in front of the White House to tell the world that the people of Iran want change. Now is the time to stand on the side of the people of Iran for their freedom. They're not asking for foreign boots on the ground or appropriation of money. All they need is support on their side.
Protests have spread across Iran in response to soaring inflation and quickly turning political protesters demanding an end to clerical rule. Several nations and international organizations have voiced strong condemnations against recent US military actions targeting Venezuela, emphasizing the importance of international law and diplomatic solutions. The United States launched military operations in Venezuela that led to the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. The Venezuelan government said the strike hit civilian and military sites in at least 4 states, including Caracas, Miranda, Aragua, and La Guaira. Venezuela Sergei Milik Bargasarov, after meeting with Venezuelan Foreign Minister on Friday, noted that the U.S. actions have resulted in the death of approximately 100 Venezuelan civilians and military personnel. He stressed that these tragic consequences must be severely condemned and thoroughly investigated. The ambassador added that the United States' neo-colonial command and control approach clearly does not contribute to the normalization of Venezuelan oil sales, and such actions violate international law. South African Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamola, on Friday reiterated his country's commitment to a rule-based international order grounded in international law and multilateralism with the United Nations at its center. Tens of thousands of people marched through Minneapolis on Saturday to decry the fatal shooting of a woman by U.S. immigration agent, part of more than 1,000 rallies planned nationwide this weekend against the federal government's deportation drive. The massive turnout in Minneapolis, despite a whipping cold wind, underscores how the fatal shooting of 37-year-old Renee Good by an immigration and customs enforcement officer has struck a chord, fueling protests in major cities and some towns. Minnesota's Democratic leaders and the administration of President Donald Trump, a Republican, have offered starkly different accounts of the incident. Demonstrators in Minneapolis, which has a metropolitan population of 3.8 million, marched towards the residential street where Good was shot in her car. Minnesota officials have called the shooting unjustified, pointing to bystander video that they say showed Good's vehicle turning away from the agent as he fired. Coming up, Ethiopia begins $12.5 billion construction of Africa's biggest airport. Rescue workers on Saturday continued searching through the rubble of a collapsed landfill in the central Philippines, where dozens were missing and at least 4 people were killed. The landfill in the central city of Cebu collapsed on Thursday with 110 workers on site at the time. Several structures and facilities inside the landfill were damaged during the collapse. Cebu City Mayor said the death toll had risen to 4 and that 12 others had been sent to hospitals. 36 people were missing based on Friday tally. An update on the number of missing was not immediately available. To assist in the rescue operation, 20 trucks equipped with hydraulic cranes and specialized cutting attachments were being sent to help rescuers forced to crawl to reach areas blocked by debris. North Korea said on Saturday that South Korea flew another drone into its airspace, infringing on its sovereignty. The drone, which originated from an island in the South Korean, flew 8 kilometers before it was shot down inside North Korean airspace. The drone was equipped with surveillance cameras to record important North Korean facilities. Since South Korean President Lee Jae-myung took office in June, North Korea has rebuffed conciliatory gestures from Lee's administration. Lee had pledged to re-engage with Pyongyang to defuse tensions on the Korean Peninsula. South Korea's military said on Saturday it did not operate drones on the date North Korea is claiming, and that Lee has ordered a thorough investigation. North Korea has previously accused South Korea for sending a drone over Pyongyang in October 2024. China's top diplomat Wang Yi arrived in Maseru, Lesotho on Saturday, continuing his annual New Year tour of Africa, aimed at deepening Beijing's influence and economic ties across the continent. Wang was welcomed at Moshoeshoe, the first international airport, by Lesotho officials ahead of talks on trade, infrastructure, agriculture and broader economic cooperation. Lesotho's Foreign Minister Lee Port Joanne said the visit will strengthen bilateral relations and advance commitments under the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation.
We are mostly focusing on the economic diplomacy. We are building our economy. We have seen the handover of the food storage. We have seen the handover of the tractors and the implements. And we are now going to focus mostly on the market aggregation center for the agricultural produce.
Lesotho, a small mountainous kingdom seeking tariff relief and development fundings, benefits from China's policy, granting tariff-free access to its $19 trillion market for the world's poorest nations. Textile manufacturing remains a critical sector, and Lesotho hopes to secure new markets for its exports. Ethiopia broke ground on the Bishoftu Mega International Airport yesterday. A $12.5 billion project, officials said, will become Africa's largest aviation hub. Even as some displaced farmers voiced concerns over resettlement, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed led the cornerstone laying ceremony in Abu Sera village, about 40 kilometers southeast of Addis Ababa, joined by senior officials and traditional leaders. The airport will feature 4 runways and an initial annual capacity of 60 million passengers, with plans to scale to 110 million.
We have submitted the feasibility study of the project to these potential financiers, and many of them have expressed interest to participate, and they have started their due diligence. So far, about $6 billion have been pledged, but we expect that it will increase.
Officials described the project as a strategic investment to position Ethiopia as a global gateway, surpassing the scale of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. While the government pledged resettlement support for affected communities, some displaced residents voiced concerns over housing and youth employment.
Menggosok baju sekaligus boleh menjimatkan elektrik.
Coming up, Aaron and Wu Yik aim to end 12-year Malaysia Open title drought. National sprinter Muhammad Azim Muhammad Fahmi delivered an impressive performance to claim victory in the men's 60-meter final at the UAB Blazer Invite held at the Birmingham Crossplex, Alabama, United States. According to the event's official website, national sprinter Muhammad Azim, who represented Auburn University, powered down the track to clock 6.60 seconds, finishing comfortably ahead of his competitors to secure first place in the final. His Auburn University teammate Omari Lewis followed closely behind in second place with a time of 6.66 seconds. Only Kobe Johnson of Southern Mississippi completed the podium after posting 6.74 seconds. It was an encouraging opener for Azim, who is expected to lead Malaysia's challenge in the Blue Rai-Ban Sprint at the 2026 Asian Games in Japan from 19 September to 4th October after opting out the Thailand SEA Games last month. The win further underlined Azim's growing stature in the 60 metres after his standout campaign last year when he smashed the national record with 6.56 seconds in Texas in March. The country's top men's doubles pair, Aaron Chia So Wee, are on the brink of clinching the Malaysia Open 2026 title as they stormed into the final last night after a hard-fought victory over their 6-seeded Indonesian opponents. In the semi-finals action at the packed Axiata Arena Bukit Jalil, the second-seeded Aaron Wu Yik reached their maiden Malaysia Open finals as they came out tops against Indonesians Fajar Alfian and Muhammad Shoaibul Fikri. The opening game was a nail-biter with both pairs locked at 21-21, but the former 2022 world champions kept their cool to age 23-21. Trailing 10-12 in the second set, the two-time Olympic Games bronze medalists found their rhythm on time to surge ahead 16-12 and send the home crowd into a frenzy as they sealed the match 21-18 after 15 minutes of intense action. The result saw the world number 2 pair presented with the chance to become the first local pair to lift the Malaysia Open men's double title after Goh Vishem Lee Kim Wah last won it in the 2014 edition. Next up for Aaron Wu Yik is a title clash with top seeds and defending champions Kim Wo Ho, Siu Seong Jae of South Korea. Meanwhile, world number 1 men's singles shuttler Shi Yu Ki of China also moved a step closer to defending his Malaysia Open title after advancing to the final. The top seed denied Denmark's third seed and 2024 champion Anders Antonsen in a place in the final, needing just 46 minutes to secure a 21-13, 21-14 straight sets victory in the semi-final of the season opening tournament. His win set up a final clash against Thailand's former 2023 world champion Kunlavut Vititsan. Kunlavut, on the other hand, took 63 minutes to oust fourth seed Jonathan Christie of Indonesia, also in straight sets 21-16, 21-16. China's second seed Wang Ziyi continued her impressive run by brushing aside India's former world champion Pusala Visindhu 21-16, 21-15. Ziyi's final challenge will come from reigning champion and top seed An Si-young of South Korea, who advanced without taking to court after China's fourth seed Cheng Yu-fei withdrew ahead of the semi-final clash. Immigration FC chalk up their fourth win in the 2025-2026 Super League season with a dominant 3-0 victory over Kelantan the Real Warriors TRWFC at Penang State Stadium, Batu Kawan yesterday. Immigration FC started strong and continued to dominate play throughout the first half and scored their first goal in the 31st minute through a header by Colombian striker Wilmar Jordan Gill. They continued to dominate in the second half, resulting in their second goal in the 70th minute by Eduardo Jose Sosa Vegas off a cross by Alvis Kamsoba. Kelantan's efforts for a resurgence unfortunately resulted in an own goal by M. Rakesh just 3 minutes later, who nudged the ball into the goal while trying to block Wilmar, and the scoreline at the 73rd minute stood at 3-0. The visitors nearly scored in the 75th minute, but Albert Sankang's goal was disallowed and the match ended with a victory for Immigration. Meanwhile, Selangor FC under new head coach Kim Panggon beat DPMM FC 5-2 at Hassan Al-Bolkiah National Stadium, Barakas. Selangor striker Chirgo Moraes was the man of the match, scoring 4 out of 5 of this team's goal, his first in the 5th minute, the second in the 10th minute, the third in the 58th and the last in injury time. Selangor's Noah Lane was the other goal scorer last night, scoring in the 48th minute, while DPMM's 2 goals came from Hakim Yazid in the 42nd minute and Miguel Oliveira in the 62nd minute. Elsewhere in Selayang, Terengganu FC fielded local players against PDRM FC due to injuries and contract terminations, while aiming to bounce back from a recent defeat. The club, also known as the Turtles, are short on options as most foreign players are injured or have had contracts terminated. However, Terengganu winger Bakyuddin Shamsuddin rose to the occasion in the final moments of the match, scoring in the 85th minute to secure a narrow 1-0 victory for his team over PDRM FC. The winning goal was set up by a powerful strike from Muhammad Hakimi Azim Rosli from the right side of the pitch, allowing Terengganu to take home the full 3 points from the match held at the Selayang Municipal Council Stadium. Up next, Lego Smart Brick promising new dimensions of play. Earlier this week, Danish toymaker Lego unveiled an interactive smart play platform powered by the Lego Smart Brick and a new line of Star Wars sets incorporating the Smart Brick at Consumer Electronics Show or CES 2026 in Las Vegas. The Smart Brick is shaped like a regular Lego brick and can be used with existing sets but interacts with other bricks and tags to produce sound and reaction using sensors, accelerometers, light sensing, a sound sensor and a small built-in microphone. It can tell how far it is from another Smart Brick and its motion and orientation.
But what it gives us an opportunity to do is to bring completely new dimensions to the Lego sets and Lego play, whether it's sound, responsiveness, reactiveness, things being able to interact with each other, but also an opportunity for tremendous social play.
The launch includes smart minifigures, which interact to unlock reactions and secret mini-games. In partnership with the Walt Disney Company, Lego also unveiled a new line of Star Wars sets with figures, vehicles and localays. The Lego Smart Brick Star Wars set will launch on 1st March in select markets. President Vladimir Putin has made a cameo appearance in a popular Russian children's cartoon, delivering a New Year message to the nation alongside a talking cat and dog. Residents of Prostakvashino, the fictional village that gives its name to the show, are stunned when the animated version of the Kremlin leader, flanked by Shark the dog and Metroskin the cat, greets Russians at the turn of the year. Adults accompanying their kids at Prostakvashino theme park in Moscow were cautiously positive in their assessment. The president's appearance in Prostakvashino would be a form of soft power that would help to promote Russia and its culture. Couples brave sub-zero temperatures as low as negative 20 degrees Celsius to exchange vows on 6 January in Harbin, a city in northeast China. According to organizers, 42 couples took part in the event as they took to the stage to say yes, I do at the Harbin Ice and Snow World Park, where they exchanged rings and hugged, posing for photos.
没结婚之前，我就一直挺想来哈尔滨这边的。我喜欢这边的美食，好吃的挺多。这边的人的性格也很好，我很喜欢这边东北这边人说话，性格什么的直爽。所以这次很感谢有这个机会可以来哈尔滨。
The event is part of the Harbin Ice and Snow Festival, and this is the 42nd edition, with the event officially called the four-season Migo Harbin Public Welfare Ice and Snow Group Wedding Event. With his strong singing voice, lacquered wig, and made-to-measure rhinestone jumpsuit, full-time Elvis tribute artist Damon Mullin captivated audiences at the iconic Park's Elvis Festival with his electrifying and energetic performances, embodying the spirit of the king of rock and roll. With his wife Kate by his side and hundreds of adoring fans in the audience, Mullin's journey into the world of Elvis tribute artistry began with an average karaoke night at work.
And I dressed up a little bit as Elvis, and everyone was just like, wow, that was so good. And from there, I thought, okay, well, this could be a ticket out of this 9-to-5 boring stuff. So I contacted a talent agency, and from there, I got signed up very quickly, and they just happened to have an Elvis go off their books. And so I picked up that spot, and here we are, 16 years later, and loving it.
Behind the scenes, Mullin meticulously prepares for his performances with various layers of makeup, wigs, sideburns and costumes. As he applies his contouring makeup, he explains the art of transformation, with his wife Kate playing a crucial role in the process, often providing the final approval. That concludes today's edition of World Today. In our top story, Japan PM Takaichi considering snap election in February. Till then, I'm Sahih Samsudin, Salam Malaysia Madani, and thank you for watching.